Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As most of you will probably already know, my name is Scooby, and today we're talking about Apex Legends. So, surprise, surprise, we don't actually have any gameplay today. We're actually going to be making a tier list. We're going to be going over every single legend in the game and where they fall in the current meta. This is going to be kind of focused on more of a ranked kind of meta. You know, there are some that are going to fall on the lower end of things that are, you know, absolutely viable in pubs, so just keep that in mind. This is actually something that we were just talking about on stream last night with Soul, and I believe it was Floppy who stopped by in chat. We were all trying to kind of figure out what's the best meta to be running in ranked right now, so that got me kind of thinking about a tier list. I actually haven't seen any for Season 7. I know that they're out there, but I just haven't come across any really. So with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So first up we have Bangalore. Bangalore is what I would consider to be kind of an entry fragger. I'm just going to go ahead and hover her over B. Most people will agree that Bangalore is a pretty mid-tier legend. She doesn't excel exceptionally in one way or the other. She's not, you know, an absolute hindrance to your team, but she's not an absolute asset. As I mentioned, a good Bangalore is an absolute asset, and for that reason, including, you know, even if you do kind of misuse her tactical and her ultimate, I do think that she's still super useful. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to put Bangalore in the A tier. All right, next up we have Bloodhound. I mean, I don't even think I really need to talk about where Bloodhound is going to fall on this list. They are one of, without question, the most useful and impactful legends in the entire game. Now, let's talk about their Q. Their scan is absolutely insane. I mean, people joke that it's wall hacks for 3.5 seconds, and it's exactly what it is. All right, and lastly, let's talk about their ultimate, the Beast of the Hunt. This is a pretty interesting ultimate. Really, its utility lies in, you guessed it, information gathering. Without question, they're going all the way up into S tier. Now we're talking about Caustic. Caustic is an interesting one. Everybody knows him, and I think everyone hates him. I think even Caustic mains hate Caustic mains. I'm finding personally, me and my teams are finding that, you know, when we find a hunkered down Caustic, we just tend to walk away. You know, there's really not much that you can do to kind of move that Caustic out of whatever building that he's in. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put Caustic in A tier. His utility is there, but it's very situational. He's really not too terribly useful outside of a building or a very small area which, you know, you're trying to hold down. All right, let's talk about Crypto. Crypto has a lot of useful passive abilities. There are some serious downsides to them. Well, there's one downside to them. They all revolve around his drone. So basically, everything that Crypto can do is based around his drone. I kind of call Cryptos the errand boy, just because of how much they can do with their drone. But if that drone gets shot out of the sky, you're kind of sitting around completely useless for, I think it's like 40 seconds or something. So all of that being said, my biggest concern with Crypto and when I see Crypto players is the vulnerability of Crypto. For all of this, every single one of his abilities, for every single one, you have to be in your drone. You have to be just sitting in a corner on your ass, not doing anything. So for all of those reasons, I'm gonna have to put Crypto in C tier. As useful as his entire kit is, it's just his vulnerability is too much of a negative factor. Okay, we're talking about Gibby, the largest hitbox in the game, spawns in with 75 HP, got buff after buff after buff after, you know, everyone in the entire community. I mean, everyone from bronze to ALGS, you know, competitors saying, you know, hey, Gibby is fucking broken, somebody fix this please, and they just continue to buff him. You know, Gibby is just, he's super useful just in terms of how much damage he can tank. He's also, you know, really great at pushing fights and kind of turning the fight to your benefit, even if you're kind of losing it, just because of forcing the fight on your bubble. For those reasons, Gibby is 110% S tier. Honestly, just just broken, needs to be fixed, needs to be reworked, something like that. But he's here now, so we may as well use him. Now we're talking about Horizon, the newest addition to the Apex Legends family. She released with Season 7, and I think everyone can agree that she's a pretty solid legend. So out of the box, probably the best legend to ever launch. You know, everyone enjoys playing her. No one really hates her. She's not overpowered in any way, really. Horizon is all around a super fun legend to play. However, she's not really the most useful when it comes to ranked. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but Horizon's gonna be our first B tier legend. Her usefulness and her utility in terms of team composition and team fighting is just, it's not there. You know, she's a fragger for sure, but none of her abilities really provide a large amount of utility for the team. For that reason, she's gonna go in B tier. All right, now we're talking about Lifeline. Lifeline is right now probably one of the strongest characters in game, and it is due to one thing and one thing only, and it's not even an ability that she has on a cooldown. You guessed it, it's her res drone. That thing is probably the most annoying fucking ability I've ever encountered in my life. Like I said, simply because of that res, she is already high up on the list, and I think because of Doc and just the entire team not having to worry about heals, I'm gonna go ahead and put Lifeline in S tier, just for her ability to kind of prolong fights as well as her utility when rezzing. You know, I kind of thought about putting her in A tier, but I think just that res is just too powerful right now. Next up, we're talking about LOBA. LOBA is in an interesting spot right now, and I think that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on her. I am gonna have to put LOBA in B tier though. Her utility is, it's there, but it's very situational and very fleeting. Basically, she's only useful when her ultimate is up. Every other time, she has to just be absolutely fragging out. She could 100% be A or even S tier, just if she had more team utility. I don't know. I have some ideas on that. We were talking about that on stream. Yeah, you know, she just needs some adjustment to get up to A and S tier. All right, let's talk about Mirage. Mirage is really nothing special. I think this is pretty in line with who Mirage is as an individual. You know, his entire persona is, I'm the greatest, and really he's mediocre at best. And that's kind of where his kit is at. It's mediocre at best. So in terms of utility, especially for team fights, it's just really not there. So for those reasons, we're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna put Mirage in D tier. He's super fun in pubs. He's just that kind of fuck around, you know, it doesn't really matter, you know, I just want to have fun kind of character. But in terms of ranked utility, he's just not it. Let's talk about Octane. Octane is in a weird spot right now. Even the devs have admitted this. I don't really see him kind of getting much more useful than he already is. You know, Octane is kind of going the way of Mirage here. He's, you know, he's super fun to play. He's fun to play in pubs. If you don't really care and you just want to speed around the map and just kind of fuck around, absolutely. But in terms of ranked, 100% Octane is going to be D tier. Now let's talk about Pathfinder. Pathfinder is in a pretty rough spot right now. He's basically a walking refrigerator. He's super easy to hit. He has low profile on. He's gonna have to go in the B tier. All right, you know what? I thought about it for a second. I'm actually gonna put Pathy in A tier, simply because we're talking about team utility. And kind of getting that ultimate high ground is pretty useful. Being able to grapple in and kind of take a look at, you know, what's happening around. You know, you can set vertical zips, you can set horizontal zips. All of that paired with the fact that when he hits a survey beacon, his cooldown for a zip gun, his zip line is reduced by 10%. So for that reason, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put him in A tier, but he's very low in A tier. He's basically B tier, but yeah. All right, so next up we have Rampart. So pretty cool in concept, awesome in theory, but in utility and like in the real world, not it. So for that reason, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put Rampart in D tier. She's kind of fun if you want to play pubs a little bit slower. Not sure why you would do that, but you know, yeah, she's there if you want it. All right, next up we have Revenant. Revenant was probably the worst character to ever have to be dealt with in ranked in like season 5, after they buffed his totem to where it has you know, no range on it now, so you can just revolt and just keep running. Really, his utility is in his ultimate, so for that reason I'm gonna put him in B tier just because his ultimate is so useful. All right, we're down to the last two. We are talking about WATTSON. WATTSON is probably like the fan favorite, the most widely adored character, and with good reason. So in terms of high rank where you know, resources are kind of limited, having a WATTSON on your team where you can poke, take a little bit of damage and then just hang out in the pylon and regen shields it's really nice. So for her lockdown utility as well as her utility of providing resources, I don't think this is going to surprise anyone, but WATTSON's going up in S tier. All right, last but not least, everyone's favorite, the most nerfed character of any game of all time. Talking about WRAITH. So WRAITH's not what she used to be, but she's still pretty good. So she's not where she used to be. I mean, she used to be 110% without question S tier legend, but for her utility in team fights as well as her rotation ability, she's going into A tier. You can disagree with me on that. You know, some people will say, oh, she's B, she's C tier now. But in terms of, again, in terms of utility, in terms of ranked play, team comp, and team utility, you know, I feel like she's up there still. So that is going to be it from me, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, feel free to disagree with me down in the comments. Let me know where you think I messed up. You know, somebody's too high on the list, somebody's too low on the list. You know, I'd love to hear how, you know, we talked a little bit about, you know, this person is useful because, this person is not useful because, and I'm thinking about maybe doing a video on how to improve every single legend in the game. So, you know, if you guys have any of those recommendations, put them down in the comments below. But with that being said, you know, again, thank you guys for stopping by, and I will catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace.